What the Batman casting reveals about the movie. That is the headline on today's NBA Heroes.
Yes, Stephen, this one is coming in from Screen Rant, and as you did say, it is a very alluring question, I want to say. They are headlining this lengthy article with what the Batman casting reveals about the movie, and they have went into great detail, Stephen, and broken down each announced casting choice, and obviously ones which are rumoured in Andy Serkis and obviously Colin Farrell. And what they're essentially saying, Stephen, first and foremost, is that this deliberate choice from Matt Reeves to pick Robert Pattinson as a very younger Batman, Bruce Wayne. They also highlight the hypocrisy from certain parts of the fandom when they criticise him being too young, but he's actually older than what Christian Bale was when he was cast as Batman for Batman Begins. But that he obviously played the role older. Pattinson is expected to play the role much younger. And what that could have for the wide-ranging implications that could have for this movie. What's your thoughts on this article as a whole? What's your thoughts on the deliberate choice for the lead, first and foremost, to make him younger? And what this could mean, having all of these other co-stars around about, like Catwoman and obviously Paul Dano playing the Riddler, being younger, but the older, grislier, potential Penguin Colin Farrell character being an established figure. Do you like this direction?
I'm going to touch on what you were saying earlier though, John, first, before I answer the question. In regards to the focus on Batman Begins, comparing this to the Batman, I think it's a little unfair on Christian Bale as well, because when Batman Begins came out, it was, I'm not going to say it was under the radar. A Batman film is never under the radar, but it's not had the same focus as this film, and obviously what people were expecting and what people were hoping for as well. So you can understand the reaction of obviously Robert Pattinson's casting choice. I'll be honest, John, when I did see it, I thought at first, I'm not really too excited about that. But the more I've seen his films away from the obvious franchise that I don't want to mention, I think he's a perfect fit. Going back to your question now, John, I think we kind of touched on it last week when we were talking about the announcements of, obviously the casting of Serkis and Farrell. Thanks for that, because I nearly forgot his name. And I get why they're doing this as well. I think Matt Reeves, it's no secret he's thinking about a trilogy here as well with Robert Pattinson. So it makes sense that we're not going to have the Bruce Wayne we had with Ben Affleck, who's slightly older, I'll say. I'm being generous. And the same with Paul Dano, he's a guy, he's 35, John, he doesn't look 35, he's very youthful, but he's ahead, he's one of these guys that's,
he's like the Beatles.
His years, well, touching on that, John, the last film I saw him in was the one where he played Brian Wilson, and it was amazing in it, absolutely amazing. He looked like him as well, but he's just, he's ahead of his years, if I'm being honest with you. So I think that casting choice has been one of the, probably the ones that excite me the most. Certainly the role he's going to be playing as well, Edward Nygma, I'm pretty sure is the name. But then again, you've got Serkis, you've got Farrell in there playing a sort of older, I don't want to say older because they're not old people themselves, certainly when you compare them to Robert Pattinson, Paul Dano, and Zoe Kravitz as well. The headline, what it says about, reveals about what the movie is going to be like. We talked about this last week, John, the tone of this film. This is going to be kind of a reboot as well. We thought at first it was going to be a straight replacement for obviously Ben Affleck moving away from the character, but this, as we've seen, Alfred's getting replaced, Commissioner Gordon's been recast as well, so we're getting a new Batman brand here. So I get why they're doing it. It means that if obviously Matt Reeves is considering doing this over 3 films or even more, he's not really confirmed either way, he's got them in at the right age.
Absolutely, Stephen, that's what I touched upon last week as well, with the fact that it is such a young cast. It feels deliberate to me, certainly for the role of Catwoman and Batman first and foremost, and a younger Andy Serkis, Alfred Pennyworth with Andy Serkis coming in. He's not as old Pennyworth, Alfred, as we're accustomed to. I always have issues with that name. I don't know why, I always want to say Pennywise. But it seems very deliberate to make them younger. It gives them scope to take this out as long as he wants, as long as these actors want to or remain motivated and want to be part of these roles in this franchise, they can keep it going on in a 3, 4, 5 film franchise, and it gives them that time to develop the story out. Whereas with Affleck, it always felt like you were on a ticking time.
Borrowed time, yeah.
Yeah, you were borrowed time. You had a certain degree, a limited amount of movies to get the story told, because he was this older, grizzlier version. Stephen, you spoke about it being unfair on Bale, obviously the comparison, and Pattinson it being slightly unfair. I actually think it's quite similar, because obviously Bale came in on the back of, I think, Batman and Robin, which was a disaster. Clooney has obviously come out and says it was one of the worst acting roles that he'd ever picked in his career.
Yeah.
You go from that absolute shambles to Batman Begins, it rejuvenates it, reboots it, and we get a great trilogy of movies from Christopher Nolan.
Yep.
You're going from the disaster of Dawn of Justice and Justice League into another new era. A younger Batman could potentially be the same thing, rebooting it with another excellent filmmaker, Matt Reeves, who really gets canon and the stories. This could be the best thing they've done. A really good young actor who's starting to splay out and show what he can do in terms of range, doing different genres, tackling different things. And I think the choice of the likes of Paul Dano, as you did say, a man ahead of his years, he's doing writing, producing.
Yeah.
He does a whole host of things. I said the Beatles, what I mean by that is when they were 30, they'd accomplished more than I could ever dream of accomplishing in my entire life by the time they were my age. That's what I mean. He's miles ahead of 35. He could be 55 in terms of mental acuity of years, what he's actually accomplished in his career. And then you go in, and the most interesting thing, they touch upon it, and it's what I was thinking as well, going down this very different route with Colin Farrell, this casting choice, it could be this more clean-cut version of a character, like what we've seen Robin Lord Taylor do in Gotham, not the pathetic hooked nose and campy mess. I mean, I like Danny DeVito's version, but it was not befitting of what we're trying to do with this version of the story and characters. He's going to be this clean cut, more business-like. Well, we see the Falcone, and I think, what was it?
Very much like Thomas Wayne is in Joker, John.
Yeah.
You know, he's a respected figure, but he obviously has a few skeletons he's covered, you know?
Absolutely. Stephen, I was trying to think of the other crime family. We have the Falcone and the Maroni.
Yeah.
I think he'll come in and he'll be manipulating these two crime families in the shadows, but then he's almost like a bad version of Bruce Wayne. He's got these two personalities. In the shadows, he's this nefarious crime lord who's manipulating things, but by all intents and purposes, in the surface, he's this upstanding member of society, a businessman. I want to see that version. That's a character I think Farrell could come in. He's a wonderful actor. He can do everything. He does indie movies to blockbusters. He could come in and jump into that character and have an absolute field day with it. Can play in these two different sides. Facing off this older, grislier version, a guy compared to also the youthful Pattinson version of Bruce Wayne, still trying to find his way in life and this role. He's roaming around trying to tackle these myriad of different villains. He's the sort of a super villain. Yeah. I cannot wait to see it. And they do go on to say that it could potentially be following Jeff Loeb's The Long Halloween comic arc, which sounds like a perfect sort of a story to use as a guideline. Bruce is early. It's his early days as Batman. He's young. He works with Harvey Dent and Jim Gordon to track down a mysterious killer named Holiday. They go on and murder people. He murders people every month. And then this leads him into confrontations with a whole array of different criminal figures in the Gotham underworld: Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, the Riddler, Calendar Man, and even the Joker. Now, Stephen, we were speaking about this. I wouldn't be surprised to see Poison Ivy coming in. I don't know who would play her, but I wouldn't be surprised. Calendar Man would be interesting as well. Scarecrow, we also seen, what's his face? Cillian Murphy playing him in the Dark Knight trilogy. We've already got the Riddler, but I think they could potentially fling a nice little twist in here. With this not coming out for another couple of years, we could potentially see, I think, a little cameo at the end from Joaquin Phoenix as a Joker.
Who knows, John? But listen,
because we're getting into it shortly.
Something I've not considered actually, John, and it's just when you were speaking there. Am I right to assume that we're not having an Origins film then with the Batman? Is that right?
I hope not. If it's following the Long Halloween,
it seems to be his early days as Batman.
He's already established,
Yeah, people know who he is then. So I'm kind of glad they've done that, because they've done it twice already. Well, saying that, Michael Keaton's was established, but it was more of a rumour. Yeah. I think it's going to be a kind of further forward with the character as obviously been recognised in Gotham City with with Pattinson's version. So I'm all for that.
I don't want to see another Wayne murder sequence.
No, we
Jesus
don't.
Christ.
Well, we've seen it in Joker.
So
So I think they've covered it well, John. It seems like they've taken elements from obviously this new incarnation of Spider-Man, where we don't have to go back and see Uncle Ben being murdered for a third time. So I'm kind of happy with that. I never even considered that. I thought, just naturally assuming we were getting a reboot and it was going to be an origin story again. I'm glad they're not going down that route if that article is precise.
Yeah, Stephen, look, the final thing I'll add, just once again, that's something that really intrigues me. The fact that we have seen Reeves speak about and want to flesh out this more detective-heavy story with this, the greatest detective in the world sort of a thing, instead of less of Cape Crusader, utilising all of his array of billions to use technology and get around and scooping up villains, just utilising this more slow burn, potentially detective-heavy movie. If you've got the Maroni and the Falcone family in there, the Penguin being this nefarious figure in the shadows, manipulating things, all these other villains getting in the way of what's really going on, then that would be perfect for this detective side to come out.
Yeah.
It seems like this long Halloween story or arc is the perfect way to go. I cannot wait to see it, as I did say, I keep saying it, but it's just the more and more I see it, I think they've got the best casting director in Hollywood here, because the choices they're making is just, they're hitting the ball out the park time and again. I don't know who it is, but good lord man, they are getting it right. But the final thing I'd add, Colin Farrell and Jonah Hill, what is going on there? Totally different.
Yeah.
It's almost like they've changed the story if they're bringing in Colin Farrell, because
Well,
he could not do the same role as Jonah Hill.
No,
Jonah Hill couldn't do Colin Farrell.
I think when they were considering Hill, John, I think they were still thinking at the time of the DeVito version of the character. So, and I'm a big fan of Jonah Hill. I think he's a terrific actor.
Yeah.
And he would have done an interesting take on the character as well, but I'm kind of glad they're going down this route because it's something we've not seen, apart from obviously on the television series Gotham, but on the big screen we've not seen this kind of version of the Penguin, so I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, Stephen. But look, I was speaking about potential little side twists going on at the end of the Batman in 2021 with perhaps the Joker coming in. I think it's done. We're getting a sequel to the Joker at some point with the success of the movie, and that will take us into the next topic all about the success. It is officially the most profitable comic book movie of all time. It has beat out Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Obviously, it only had a $62.5 million budget. It's currently sitting at $957 million worldwide. It may be more by the time this goes out. It may have hit $1 billion already. $304.2 million in the States. That is incredible, Stephen. What a performance that is for this movie. Having to face off against all of this criticism from a very agenda-driven,
before the film was released.
Yeah, agenda-driven, critical sort of a sphere, I want to say. They're just attacking the movie, saying it's violent, it's unnecessarily dark, and I never understood it. From the vibes I got from the trailer, it never looked violent at all. No. I watched the movie. I didn't think it was dark and uncomfortable, but I never felt it was that violent. Deadpool is more violent than this movie is, and it's just destroyed all of this critical nonsense.
Terminator Dark Fate's got more killing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it destroyed all of that, Stephen. It destroyed all of the controversy, and it's a massive success. The most successful and most profitable.
I'm pretty sure the head count is 4 or 5 in Joker, which isn't a lot.
It's, I think the manner of them, but I've seen more violent movies.
I mean, I got a very different experience to what I was expecting going into the film, John, because you do believe in the hype from what you read from these so-called experts. But once you get into that cinema, into the theatre and experience that film, it's a totally different thing altogether. Psychologically, it drained me. It was just it's my second best film of the year, just in behind Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But it's a dilemma of having a successful film as well, John, because I think the director and obviously the main actor were adamant that this was going to be a one-off. The director had always had in his head that he wanted Joaquin Phoenix as, obviously Arthur Fleck, and if he couldn't get him, he probably wouldn't have bothered doing the movie. Thankfully, Phoenix did come on board to do this after he read the script, and Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix are now in this dilemma where at one time, they were adamant this was a one-off film, and Joaquin Phoenix, I don't think at the time was a big, massive comic book fan in regards to cinema. So, you know, that he had that mindset for a long time that, you know, he was going to be a sort of in and out actor in this sort of position, and the same with the director as well, you know. But I think even they have been taken by surprise just how successful, you know, the film's performed at the box office, and how well received it's been from the audience members as well. That they're wanting more. And we've seen in the last maybe 3-4 weeks now, Joaquin Phoenix coming out saying that he would consider playing the role again because he had so much enjoyment in playing this character. And obviously Todd Phillips as well. He'll be delighted that you know, he's hearing these things from the actor as well. Whether it be you know, a Joker 2 movie, or whether it will be he might make an appearance in the Batman, who knows?
Stephen, look, you're absolutely right about this movie just exceeding expectations for everybody, the filmmaker, the actor, the lead actor, Joaquin Phoenix, and just people in general, critics, fans. It's turned into a real cultural phenomenon. It's like a zeitgeist movie for, I don't know what part of Community it's a zeitgeist. It seems every part of Community it's became a zeitgeist movie. They seem to be connecting with it on some level. This story, they're all going to this staircase, I believe, in Brooklyn and celebrating this character, which is crazy when you think he's an absolute psychopath, the guy. He's clearly unhinged. He's not connected to reality in any way, but people are just connecting on some level. And I think it's what you spoke about a couple of weeks back, Stephen, this tragic element running through within him, just getting beaten down by life. He's cast out, he's an outcast, cast out like a leper, like obviously Heath Ledger said back in the day. That's something you can connect with. Anyone can connect with that. That's
the problem as well. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
that's the problem when you're dealing with this sort of subject, when society is to blame. A lot of society get their backs up when, you know, they're accused of this. You know, and I think that was probably why it suffered early sort of vibes from these, as I said, so-called experts. But thankfully, you know, people have got their own minds. They've went out and seen it, had the bums on the seats, went out and enjoyed it, probably went back for repeated viewings. I actually, before I went to see this film, I couldn't believe how many people I saw on social media saying, going back to see Joker for the third time this week, etc. That was before I even seen the film. So
I don't think I could go back and watch it 2-3 times, Stephen. It's a deeply uncomfortable movie. It gets under your skin. And I have to take a break from movies like that.
I will probably get back to it, John. Probably on its Blu-ray release or its digital release.
Definitely be buying it, Stephen. It's a wonderful movie. One of the best comic book adapted movies, Stephen. That's one thing I'll get into briefly before we move on. With all this controversy surrounding the comic book genre, with Martin Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola, Ken Loach coming out and speaking about it. I think we've even had Jennifer Aniston and God knows who else having their say on comic book movies, Marvel movies, and fest in the cinemas and or theatres. They're despicable. I think the only way you'll see these movies getting respect is if they start developing and maybe evolving into something slightly different, like what we got with Logan. I think that is why this movie has become a cultural phenomenon as well, because it's done something very different with the genre. It's become a character study. It's looking into the human soul, if you like, and what the hell makes people tick. As you did say, touching on societal issues and how it shapes these people into being who they are. This is the way they need to go with these comic book movies going forward. They have to start doing slightly different. We've been seeing it getting done time and again. We've got almost Western movies and heist movies within and stuff like that. We got that in Endgame, a little heist thing with them going back. But they need to do that more and more. Change the nuance of the genre. Start going and doing sub-genres within the genres. And then you'll maybe start getting people giving grudging respect, the likes of Coppola and Scorsese. I doubt it though, but they may start changing their opinion on it. And look, it just keeps it fresh as well. It keeps fans wanting to go back and watch it. Not everybody connects with big blockbuster action movies. They like those more intimate, introspective movies like this. Final thing I would add, you look at the movies it's past and it's quite interesting. The Mask, I always forget that's a comic book movie. That's a comic movie. It had a $350 million cum, $23 million budget all the way back in '94. I'm sure if you adjust that for inflation, that will be well up there. Venom, it passed Venom, another surprise success from I think last year. Batman, I think that's probably the original Batman, 89.
89, yeah.
And then it also passed Deadpool, which again was a very surprising success. They took this character which was a joke. Ryan Reynolds done his thing with it. Worked with Tim Miller, I want to say. And then you have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and whatnot all in there, and Joker as the king of them all in terms of the most profitable movie. It's in good company, Stephen. It deserves to be there. I can't really touch upon it much more. Spoke the hind legs off the movie. It's wonderful in all the right ways. Just a great performance, great filmmaking. It has obviously took massive creative license from the likes of the Kings of Comedy and the Taxi Driver. It's clearly inspired by that on some level, but it's done its own different little things. It's different in its own way that it just doesn't take you out of the movie, and it deserves all of the attention, all of the cultural success it's getting. I'm sure it will be, those stairs will be celebrated a decade from now, man. And hopefully he does go on and do another movie, even though a part of me is conflicted.
Yeah.
I want to see it being a standalone movie and left alone, but another part wants me to see him facing off against Patterson in a Batman movie. But look, we'll see. Time will tell and all that jazz. And I think we will move on that note, Stephen, to the third and final topic. This one will be controversial, I think, for us. It's from Screen Rant.
Yeah.
Ant-Man is the MCU's worst franchise. So why is it getting a trilogy, they say in brackets? Well,
because it's not the worst franchise.
Because it's not the worst franchise, first and foremost. They are skewing this from a purely box office perspective. It's always performed slightly lacklusterly in comparison to the other big MCU movies, the likes of the Thor franchise. Obviously, Captain America's a behemoth, Iron Man. The bigger ones, like obviously the actual Avengers movies, even that god-awful one, Age of Ultron, and that done much better than Ant-Man. So they're taking it from that, they're saying it's poorly performing. Why the hell are they giving it a third movie? Well, I've got my opinion. What is your opinion, Stephen? They contradict themselves.
It's a funny one because they're saying it's the MCU's worst franchise, so I know what they're saying, but personally, and it's all subjective, John, anyway, but personally I enjoy the first two Ant-Man films than I enjoy the first two Thor films.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, they're better movies for me.
I just think, and it's nothing to do with the fact Paul Rudd's in there, who is one of my favourite comic sort of actors as well.
Just a great guy as well, off screen.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be great in Ghostbusters, I'm pretty sure. But there's something about this character as well, because I wasn't heavily invested in the original material and stuff like that. So when this film was released in 2015, I've always been intrigued by that special effect that you saw in the likes of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. There's numerous films that use that technology, John.
Remember it well, Stephen, when I was young.
Shrink everything down, and I'm always interested to see how visual effects guys are able to have things in scale with the subject, and how precise it is.
That sequence in the bath, Stephen, in the
that's what I was going to touch on. When he falls through the floorboards, the little gaps, and he ends up on the dance floor in the disco and stuff like that, and he's dancing about trying to avoid the high heels. It was just the film's visually one of the best ones in the MCU. Story wise, it's very basement level. He's a burglar,
and an engineer.
Yeah, it's a strange combination, but obviously Hank Pym saw the potential in him, set up the whole heist, if you like. He wanted to see if he can manage, what
another
he
great
expecting.
scene, incidentally, with that Titanic era steel.
Yeah,
how he used these great cerebral intelligence to
the pressure
away to bust it open.
Yeah,
again, that shows you the potential within the character.
Yeah. So, and that first movie as well had a great antagonist, John. I thought it was just an adventure film. I think what the problem with this franchise is date of release has probably not helped it. The Ant-Man and the Wasp, which came out right after Infinity War.
Yeah.
Any film that's going to be released after that was going to be overshadowed, obviously, but one of the things that probably did the film a favour was that we were wanting more. What people didn't realise till they saw the film was that the timeline was parallel with Infinity War, so it wasn't a direct, effect of what happened after that. It was that was happening at the same time. So very much like what was happening with your man
Hawkeye,
with Hawkeye, that introduction, in the Endgame. So to call it the worst franchise, I think it's a little bit too strong a phrase, that, because it's not a bad franchise. The character's great, in my opinion. The two films they've made so far have been very exciting, and it's something, a breath of fresh air as well for an MCU film to be very, downgraded in its sort of circumstances, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do with the third film, John. We did talk about it the other week there when we were talking about the young actress that played his daughter. Obviously, there's been a time jump, John.
Now she's now bigger than Paul Rudd.
Yeah, exactly, which would probably be hard. But
no, he's 5'9". He's not that. He's not that small.
I think smaller than me. So I can say that. But I think it'll be very interesting as long as they move away from the sort of restrictions of the character had in the first two films, being the ex-con, try to be the family man and balancing all that with the superhero stuff. Let's just have him full-blown superhero now. He deserves as much attention from the sort of fans within this world as the Hulk did in that cafe scene where no one wanted a selfie with him. He deserves a selfie now.
And I think he'll get a selfie, Stephen, in that movie.
Well, just before I let you back in, John, as well, because of Ant-Man and his experience with obviously the dimensions and stuff like that he was dealing in, what was it called again? Quantum Realm. That was the plot device for Endgame. If it wasn't for this character, they wouldn't have been able to, do what they did.
Absolutely, Stephen. Ant-Man and the Wasp was Titanic in the Infinity Saga. If he hadn't had that brush with the Quantum Realm, realised that time was moving slowly or was interacting differently with reality outside, we wouldn't have had that great time heist in the Endgame. We wouldn't have had the time travel, which made obviously the saving of the Infinity Stones and then the universe itself happen.
Ant-Man as well, John, the character, knew his place in all this as well. And, the Wasp made fun of him, made fun of Scott Lang when he would refer to...
wings?
Well, he would refer to, obviously, Captain America's cap, and she'd make fun of that. Obviously, in Endgame, when she referred to Captain America's cap, that was a nice little touch as well. But it was never above his station. He knew where he was, accepted that in that cafe scene, like I just said. It's okay, you're fans of the Hulk, you don't know me.
You're definitely right.
That's what I like about the character. He's not all, guns blazing. He's not all, I'm the big hero here. He plays his part as a team player. And that was one of the things that with his crew, the security crew,
Michael Pena,
they're all ex-cons.
I finally know his name, Steve, because you showed me it and I remember it. David Dasmalkian.
Yeah,
that wonderful
and the
actor.
chemistry between them. Scott Lang's chemistry with them was always been a team player, and it's the same when he's obviously a fully pledged Avenger as well.
Stephen, you're right in terms of team player as well. Just this is something I want to see touched upon in this third movie. This is why I think it's necessary. He's always been the butt of the jokes, forming and trying to be Ant-Man, becoming this rejuvenated, redeemed character. Yeah. He goes from being this worthless jailbird, trying to find a job and support his family, to becoming a big superhero character.
Yeah.
Then in Ant-Man and the Wasp again, he's trying to dabble Quantum Realm and saving obviously Hope Van Dyne, I think it is. Mm-hmm. And then now he's fully immersed. Janet Van Dyne, Michelle Pfeiffer's character. He's now fully immersed in the character, in this suit, in this superhero role. I want to see them tackle that in the third movie and really do it justice, as you did say. Go and give him the fully fledged superhero movie he deserves, showing all of his abilities, perhaps even teaming up with his daughter. We'll get to see Evangeline Lilly and Michelle Pfeiffer, obviously Michael Douglas in there. Yeah. Them all teamed together, getting a great ensemble. More human scale fight, though. That's something they've always done well in the Ant-Man movies, taking this more human scale struggle from the big Titanic celestial universal battles we get in the ensemble movies, doing that and making it a quieter, more introspective thing. I think it's egregious. That's the word I'm going to use. It's an absolute disgrace to call it the MCU's worst franchise. It is not. It does something different. It gives us great humour, great characters, and all of them have got great chemistry as well, the actors. I want to see more of it. It is better than the 4 trilogy, you're absolutely right. It's not worse than the Iron Man trilogy either. That movie, the second one's terrible. Yeah. It's average. Third one was a disaster, let's be honest. It doesn't even feel part of the MCU. They've skipped over it now. They had to release additional stuff on YouTube to cover up for it. But look, Stephen, that's going to round up today's show. What the hell did you guys make about the 3 topics we spoke about? What do you make of the casting decisions for The Batman? Do you agree with us that this combination of youth and old heads is going to make it a more homogeneous whole? What do you make about the Joker being the most profitable comic book movie of all time? What do you think about a third Ant-Man movie as well? I keep saying Iron Man. If you've got anything to say, comment below and let me know what your thoughts are. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. Me and Stephen will be back again tomorrow for another episode of MBE Movie News.